Left of the box. So Project 2024, for those of you who don't know, is kind of the outline of what the Republicans want to do should they get in power again in the States. And it is horrendous. It is horrific. It is just absolutely genocidal towards queer people, trans people in particular. Mike from the Humanist Report did a very good video on it. I feel everyone should go check it out. But for quite some time on state level, they've been passing just absolutely shocking laws against queer people. And there's a couple of people on Twitter who have been keeping tabs on it. And whenever you think it can't, like that is horrible, that's the worst, something else comes out. And then something else comes out. And it starts to really, there is no limit. They're starting to feel free to pass whatever law they want as long as it's against queer people. And they're emboldened because where's the pushback? Rarely ever do I see the Democrats, calling out the Republicans for what they're doing with their horrendous bills and legislation that they're passing. Like, I don't see Biden calling out a state for passing draconian laws. If he has, my apologies. I haven't seen the video, but I can't recall any. And the less that they're called out by all these Democrat politicians, the freer they feel. And they're getting bolder with their language, with their laws. It shouldn't just be terrifying for people who are queer, because it's not going to stop there. Like, you should just care that it's going to destroy the lives of queer folks, but it's not going to stop there. And we all know the horrendous laws and the treatment of Black people in the States as well. People living with disabilities. Like, it's just, they're never going to just pick one group to erase from public life. That's not what genocidal campaigns do. They don't just pick one. So from Erin Reed, Erin in the Morning, please go check out her Substack if you can. She does just an absolutely amazing job keeping tabs on this. I don't know how her soul can handle it. In a stunning audio release, Michigan and Ohio Republicans are heard stating that the endgame of anti-trans legislation is to ban trans care for everyone. They discuss exactly how they plan to do it, piece by piece, incrementally. Subscribe to her work. The audio is stunning and comes after a Twitter space was automatically posted to the host page. It features Representative Gary Click from Ohio, heavily the sponsor of the state's infamous gender-affirming care ban. In the space, Rep. Shriver at 49 minutes in asks, in terms of endgame, why not apply trans bill to anyone over 18? Click response confirming the plan. That's smart, though. That's a smart thought. We have to do it in small bites, they continue. Click then responds stating Ohio's restrictions will put a stop to Planned Parenthood clinics. The other thing, Planned Parenthood, they pass out hormones like candy. He's put a stop to that. We need to slow down the endgame. Horrible, horrible stuff. Transgender adults in Florida are blindsided that a new law also limits their access to health care. They're being open with it now. They're not being careful. They're not being cautious. It's not like they're ever going to come out publicly and say, oh, we were misinterpreted with what we said. They're not going to try to put some space between themselves and these comments. They don't have to anymore. Like, there was a time where they could say, oh, that was private musings, that was this, or we were talking about something else and it was misinterpreted. Now they just don't say anything because that's the goal. That's what they want to do. And from Erin Reed, House Bill 257 has just passed in Utah. It will go back to the House for concurrence. It will ban trans youth from bathrooms, trans adults from changing rooms, and would end legal recognition of trans people in much of law. A sad day for Utah trans people. Every trans person has had issues going to the washroom in public, finding a public washroom that they could go to. Every trans person at some point has felt afraid, worried, not safe going into the washroom of their gender. They're also afraid, worried, and not safe if they go into the washroom that they don't identify with, which really effectively bans them from public life, because if you can't go out in public to use the washroom, like if you're out shopping or things of that sort, it will scare you into staying home because you don't want to take that chance. So you're not going out as often unless you know you're going to have access to a washroom. Like, the whole idea of gendered washrooms too, just, they don't make much sense because they're stalls. You go in, you do your stuff. But really, like, what household have you ever been to that had washrooms separated by gender? A toilet is a toilet. It serves the same purpose. It still just gets full of shit in there. Like, it's just, I can understand the need for changing rooms a little bit more, to have some separation there. That makes sense. But for washrooms with stalls, or washrooms that are even just like, there's just the one toilet and you lock the door, like, those there's no reason why they need to be gendered, and yet they are. I will admit, I've gone into the men's restroom plenty of times when the lineup into the women's restroom has been very long and there's no lineup for the men's restroom. And it is those cases of it's just a toilet in a room with the door locked. Like, it's a toilet. I can lock the door. Nobody's peeking. It's fine. It's not like I don't know. What are people afraid of? Like, what? Because I remember going into this one washroom. I was at a truck stop, and some of the women watched me go in, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I was brave enough to do that." And it's like, what do you think will happen to you in a room with no other people and a toilet that just happens to be a men's restroom? Like, will you suddenly come out with like a deeper voice? It's just, is that how men's restrooms work? They affirm gender? Yeah, gender affirming washrooms. This one from Alejandra Caraballo. Also fantastic on Twitter. Keeps up to date with so much stuff. Again, I don't know how her soul can take all of the news that she covers, because especially with like Alejandra and Aaron, it's so personal to them. And to see this happening to people like them, their friends, their community, and feeling so helpless, to just be so absorbed in it day after day, I don't know how they do it. They are some of the strongest people I can think of, being there, reporting on it so that people outside of their bubble knows what's going on. And it's important, so important, that they're reporting on this and they're getting this information out there. So she says, the cruelty is the point. They're criminalizing trans existence in the state of Florida. Apparently, transgender people in Florida face having their driver's license revoked. So apparently you need to have the gender assigned to you at birth on your driver's license. And if you don't, then it will get revoked. Huh. So I guess I will never be able to travel to Florida because my passport has my gender, which is X, which I was not assigned at birth. Oh my God. I'm just looking at live on X. I'm like, my gender feels like a brand from Elon Musk right now. Gender X. Yeah, this whole platform now, Twitter, is just for me. People like me. Yeah. Elon is just... He should have just stuck with Twitter. As far as I know, there's no Twitter gender. And the serfs, from raiding gay bars to banning trans people simply for existing, the targeting of LGBTQ plus people is ramping up. Seattle gay bars raided over lewd conduct violations. This is one that was just covered. Aaron Reed, these laws include a criminal bathroom ban by which people can be arrested in many public buildings if they use the incorrect bathroom. By disallowing and outlawing gender markers changes, they could conceivably ID people accused of being trans in the bathroom. So Florida is set to arrest people in restrooms regardless of legal gender status in sweeping bill. And it's not just in the States. Breaking: labor will ban trans women from female hospital wards, says Wes Streeting. Labor, so this is over in the UK, I believe. Labor would ban all trans patients from single-sex wards, instead putting them in separate wards solely for trans people. Streeting says this is a priority for Labor. Yes. Singling people out is a priority and making them feel horrible. There was a little bit of good news that Aaron reported on, so move to that. A bill removing trans civil rights protections was defeated in Iowa today, one of the first major victories against anti-trans legislation in 2024. Hundreds showed up against the bill, only 3 spoke in favor. Let's look at how it happened. Subscribe to her work. So, bill removing trans civil rights protections defeated in Iowa. That's the thing. Like, I still believe that there's more good people out there than bad. It's just a lot of people are completely unaware of what's happening. You know, a lot of people who maybe don't have queer friends, trans friends, family members, they don't think about it. Like, they just simply don't think about it. So they have no idea how bad it's getting. They don't come across these news articles. They don't follow people like Aaron and Alejandra on Twitter. They're not in those bubbles, so they don't know everything that's happening. And I felt like if more people knew what was going on, they would care and they would come out and they would stand up and they would do things against, these laws stripping people's rights away. Because, as my friend said, it's not so much that the right wing is getting bigger, they're just becoming louder and more hateful. So there's actually far more accepting people out there. The vast majority of people are just they fall in that category of they don't care. Like, it's just, they don't care. It's not something that they ever think of. They don't think of trans people. They don't think of queer people. That's probably the largest category. But with the rhetoric out there, a lot of people might be thinking that the right is growing, that it's becoming much, much bigger, when in actuality, it's just that they're becoming stronger. That small group of people is becoming stronger and louder, and they have more power.